Alrighty, we're live. We're here. Simba's in his cat tunnel. Let's get it. Welcome to another Raw Real Review with the crew. Man, we're here for another episode of Moon Knight, the series, of course. How you doing, Miss M?
After that episode, I'm here for it. I cannot wait till next.
In your feels?
Why you never put me out like that?
Yeah, man. This show keeps taking unexpected twists and turns, you know. So I mean, it's definitely. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably one of Marvel's best shows yet. Probably one of Marvel's best shows, and it's all kind of different places, and like. I'm not gonna lie, if it weren't for a lot of these breakdowns, I would be hella confused. But I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far. What about you? How do you feeling about the series so far? And can you believe we're up until this point already, episode 5?
I can't even tell you. Like, I don't know if I love the acting more. I don't know if I love the history and the writing more. I don't know if I love just the story development. I love it all. Like, this show just has me so captured, and I don't remember the last time. Maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier, but not as dramatically. Like, I look forward to it every week, and every week I'm just like, damn, they delivered. Damn, they delivered, like, over and over and over again. So I'd be surprised if they dropped the ball in episode 6, but I really don't think so, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I kind of noticed, like, a formula going on in Marvel, because I noticed with the last episode of WandaVision, well, the episode before the last one, it was us kind of like seeing her childhood and like learning more about like Wanda and like the whole backstory and all that stuff like that. So they kind of did it again, like with this episode. Like we learned the whole backstory. You know, we, got some origin stories and just figured out like the whole personas and I thought that was pretty interesting. That was like one of the first things that popped up like in my head, like watching the show.
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that, but it's definitely, it's kind of the same form, like you said, formula. But damn, if it doesn't work.
Yeah, hey, keep it doing. I mean, keep it doing. Keep going for it. But yeah, man. I can't believe that we're almost like every time we get to this point. I say this. I feel like I say this every reaction. I can't believe that we're here. Like I literally can't believe that. It's been 5 weeks of this show. Like I remember like just all the hype surrounding the show and like people trying to figure out what it is and what it's about, and like so far has it exceeded like your expectations?
100%.
Wow.
I didn't know what to expect with it. I mean, it looked cool and I was like, okay, it's another Marvel movie and all right, it's got the Egyptian, that's kind of cool, the Egyptian aspect to it, but damn if it didn't blow it out of the water. I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't expect this, and I love it.
Yeah, it has been like top tier acting just this whole time, man. This whole like show is just like I said, it's amazing, honestly. Like Marvel definitely they spent the budget on this show and it's delivering so far. And like for me, it's like I don't even have any complaints about the show as far as like I'm kind of at a point where I just want to see where it goes and like how it fits into just the grander scheme of things. And like my predictions have been right so far. We haven't seen any cameos yet. I don't think we're gonna see any cameos.
Do you think we need them? Like, would you be disappointed if we don't get a cameo?
I wouldn't, honestly, man. As long as they close this out, like, in a good way, like, and that's what I'm not afraid of. But like, Marvel has a track record of like, by the time it's the last episode, all right, just throw it all in there, So
yeah.
I'm hoping that we get like a good, satisfying ending. I really like my guy Arthur, Ethan Hawke. Like I've loved his character this whole show. So, I mean, he might die. What do you think? Early predictions? You think he's gonna die, or does Marvel bring him back?
I hadn't even thought about that. I don't know. It kind of depends. Like, how do they separate the people from the god? Yeah. Like the only time we've ever seen, well, not the only time I want to say, but Khonshu was trapped. So I mean, Arthur Harrow could be separated, and then I don't know, what do they do? Bring him to justice? Try to bring him to justice? Maybe somehow, in the MCU he becomes a bigger bad later on. I don't know. That's an interesting concept, but they can separate them.
Yeah, I don't think my boy Arthur's making it past this show.
Really?
I mean, they already submitted this show as like a limited series, so I don't know if we're gonna get a Moon Knight season 2. You know, and I think honestly they're gonna use this show as like a launch pad for like the Disney like the night heroes or like the dark stuff, you know, because this is kind of, it's not really dark, but it's kind of like, you know,
There's some darker aspects.
it's gritty,
Yeah,
you know, pretty, you know, just like there's a lot of blood in the show, like
really is.
like more than like normal, you know.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. I mean, I'm here for it. It's not like too like gory and bloody, but it's like it's more noticeable. Like I've seen like just blood at different points of the show a lot.
It's definitely a more mature show, but I don't know, I'm into it. I don't think they've gone overboard. I mean, it just may be sensitive, definitely for some kids to watch.
Yeah.
But for the adults, I'm like, dang, I love this show.
Just keep like this. Like the budget looks great. Like we're not gonna mention that other show that we watched before this one came out, like in December. But this is like a huge like step up.
Oh God.
And it's hard for me to believe that this is from the same department or just like the same brand.
Studios, yeah.
Because you just see like I think that's what pisses off people even more is like they know you can do it.
Yeah.
Like we know you can do it. So it's like don't like give us the you know the malarkey that they gave us, you know.
Right?
But,
You just know you were underperforming. I mean, especially when you knew you were going to come out with something like this next. Like, you knew you had big hitters coming with Moon Knight,
Wow.
Doctor Strange,
Wow.
Thor, Guardians. Like, they knew they had home runs coming up.
yeah. But hey, I mean, we can't complain about what we're getting so far, right? You said Moon Knight has been like one of your favorite shows.
Totally redeemed all the unsatisfied or whatever disappointedness from that last show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like Moon Knight started in March, huh? Yeah, it started probably like early March, and that was the first MCU project technically this year, because
Unless you count Morbius, but you know, Morbius, like,
Oh,
they don't
yeah.
even count Morbius.
Ain't it crazy how Morbius came and went?
I mean, no, because they took everything out.
Yeah, for real.
They pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah. But before we get on talking to Morbius, Doctor Strange, that show that we won't try not to name, let's go ahead and give a breakdown and reaction of and appreciate Moon Knight episode 5. For me, honestly, it was kind of it was a more slower paced episode for me.
Really?
But it was very like informative. Like very informative. It honestly was one of those episodes you could just sit back and just soak in like everything that you're seeing. Like, It was more like just a history lesson, like the whole episode, pretty much. Like there are times like when things were being explained and I was still confused.
Really?
Yeah, but like,
Me too.
like, but you understand it like to a certain extent, right? So it's like we like just the whole story of just the whole personality and him like just developing it because of like what happened, like. Like I'm really wondering who does these like case research studies at Marvel and just like says like, hey, you know, let's talk about this one of your stories, because like this is a really good story. Like learning that he was, you know, abused as a kid by his mom, you know, like that's some real stuff that goes on, like, you know, every day. Just like how what was it, Falcon and Winter Soldier, they touched on real world topics like, you know, racism, you know, and WandaVision was dealing with like just grief and like just like they do not miss when they're trying to tell like a story and get like a certain point across. So it's like I'm really appreciating like whoever's in the customer like case research department and like deciding to put it into these like Marvel shows, like. Man, it opens your eyes to like things that are much like bigger than us, you know. Like,
100%.
It just, man, I'm just loving what they doing like with this, man.
It's so good. I mean, it just, now looking back, like we're rewatching it, it starts with the mom screaming, "It's your fault," and then, you know, he like snaps back into with Arthur Harrow where he's at, and I'm just like, that makes so much more sense now. But also, it's like, damn, that poor man was so traumatized, you know, to the point where he had to develop a whole nother personality. Yeah. John joined us. He said, "R.I.P."
R.I.P.
Oh, that was sad.
R.I.P. Steven.
I told you that after the episode. I'm like, this episode had me laughing. It had me crying. It had me like a little bit frightened with all those things. And I'm like,
you didn't know where this episode was going.
No.
Like you really didn't. Like I was shocked that we were still like that's why I said this episode confused me at first, because it felt like you went for it at one point and then you went all the way back. Then you went for a little bit, then you went forward again, then back again. So I was like, for me, I was like, okay, where the hell are we at? But you know, you watch the episode, by the end, you obviously get like, you know, what's going on. Because for me, like this whole time before I even watched Emergency Dawson's breakdown, like I literally thought Arthur was in his head, like, you know, manipulating stuff and like doing this stuff. But from our sources, this is really all just playing out in Steven and Mark's mind. So, and it makes a lot of sense now, like watching it back, because Mark is this tough, like mercenary like guy, right? But he's obviously dealing with a lot of stuff, and just like his own like mental things, like they like just. I mean, it's refreshing, really, because, like, honestly, I hate seeing the tough guy. I'm just super tough, and I'm just, like, beating up everybody. Like, I'm loving to see, like, why he's doing this, and, like, you know, just the whole story behind it. And it's, like, it's really touching. Like, it really is touching.
It really is, and it's kind of like a bigger picture type of thing for me, because you see this tough guy who can be a mercenary, who could be a killer, who could do all these things, but he's also, like, honestly, a sweetheart. In another way, you know, obviously it's with another personality, but that person was in him. He is that person. He just developed a disorder to separate the two. That would be somebody he wanted to be, because he developed that character, that aspect of himself. So it just, I don't know, it really tells you that people are multidimensional and just are more than just one thing. They're more than just what they maybe appear to be or whatever else, you know?
Yeah.
But people are they're interesting characters, and I feel like this show really brought that out.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, John said I thought it was something more than multiple personalities because of the way he looks when he's switching. He thought it was magic or something. Oh, interesting.
I keep hearing about a third personality that may show up or that hasn't showed up. Maybe we'll see it by the end of episode 6. But like I said, the way that they're like doing all this, like Moon Knight is not even really in the show if you think about it. Like, he's in a few scenes, kicks some ass, and then, like, gone. You know, like, this show has been, like, a really, like, good take just on, like, a character study. Like, just as a person, overall. Like, the show is called Moon Knight, but it really should be called, like, Mark and Steven and Arthur. Right. You know, like Mark, Steven, Arthur. Like, that should be, like, the name. Because, like, this is probably the first MCU show where people really actually care about the person, like, it's, like... Probably more than like the superhero like persona. You know? Yeah,
I mean, honestly, Moon Knight's cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the MCU. It's Marvel. You're used to superheroes. That's why it's just different, and it's refreshing to actually care so much about the characters, the person itself. It's not that we didn't with the other ones. It's just who their superhero, whatever persona was, overshadowed who they were. Yeah. Whereas in this show, it's like, no, this is a big part of who he is not Moon Knight. Like, Moon Knight's a small part of who this character is and who he is as a person, you know? And you really get to dive deep into his story in this show, and they've just done an amazing job with it so far.
They really have.
They've really made us care about this character. And then you were kind of mentioning, too, like, it was confusing for me, too, but when Emergency Awesome broke it down, they're just kind of going... So him flashing back, every time he came back to Arthur Harrow is like his way of not dealing with whatever it was they were exploring in the episode. Yeah. And it's like Harrow was telling him, he's like, it's a reassuring fantasy that you've created on your own into all of this. And every time he'd snap back, it's like you're doing everything possible not to look within and basically deal with your stuff. Mm-hmm. And so it was interesting to hear it from Dr. Harrow's perspective. Yeah. But also he's not wrong. That's exactly what he was doing. And in reality... He's in Mark's mind. So this is Mark telling himself, like, you're not dealing with your stuff. Yeah. It's a mind.
Like, it's a mind. It's definitely a mind, like it has you questioning, like, what's real and what's not. And I honestly like stuff like that. Like, I'm a big, like, yo, what the hell? Like, as much as I get confused in the episode, I love being just confused and just thrown off and just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And I feel like if you watch every episode of this show, you're always like that by the end of the episode. You're like, what the hell is going on? Like, even at the end of this episode, you're like, no, don't end. What the hell? Like, you're just like... Right? And they're really good. Like, they don't even have any post credits, like, for this whole show. And, like, still, yet you watch the end, and you're like, what happens next?
Right.
So like they've done a really good job of like ending the shows and like just being original. Like I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the best MCU shows. Like
Oh yeah.
just straight off original, like not based off of like anybody or like connected to any like this is probably the best
Standalone.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that because like we kind of got to disqualify Wanda, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki and Hawkeye. I guess What If is kind of original, but this was golden. Like, and I'm just loving what they like did with this. This show alone single-handedly like restored like the Marvel like image and like just like how it's supposed to be done.
Really does.
Because like I don't know how they go top this, to be honest. Like, but they got to because it's Marvel. But this is great. Like what we're seeing so far.
Right. John said the visuals were really good this episode too. Everything from the acting, like I said today, from the acting to the visuals to the storytelling, all of it was just. This was, I would say, a perfect episode. Was there anything wrong? I don't know if there's anything I felt like was missing or I would want to see or that I think it left out. I just wanted to know more, of course. But other than that, I thought it was a perfect episode.
Yeah.
What do you think?
For me, I thought it was a little. Well, seeing the end of the episode, it makes sense now. But like as I was watching it, I was kind of wanting them to like pick up things. Like okay.
Oh,
like,
the pace.
Yeah, like I wanted to like I wanted to be out of his head by the end of this. Like I wanted to like be like
Really?
where everything was going on. And I understand like it now, but like during the episode, I'm like, all right, we've been in this mental hospital for like an episode and a half. Like, are we gonna move? Cause like if you watch like the rest of the shows, like you're always like somewhere, like something's always going on. So like I think I had that kind of pace, thinking coming into this episode, but never like the episode was great. How it was, but just watching it, I was like, what else?
You ever thought of it metaphorically, where we're always going through life so fast paced, not even dealing with our stuff, and then now we slow down and actually stop and think about it and deal with it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, now that you're saying that, I'm like, that's kind of what I see within this movie, or within this show. It feels like a movie within this show, especially this episode. It just feels. I mean, I was so in it the whole time, and I'm like, I want more. I want to know more memories. And when he didn't go into the room the first time, I'm like, no, like that I want to know that. Tell me.
He's like, go.
Yeah,
I want to see
obviously I
it.
didn't want to know now, but damn. It made me want to know more. Like I was fascinated knowing what's in his head. I don't know, not that I didn't care, but it didn't make me wonder or miss. It wasn't so slow to where I was like, all right, come on guys, what's going on with Amit? Like in the real world. Yeah. I was more like, all right, what's next? Oh my God, this. Oh wow, that happened. Oh my God, I didn't see that coming, So that's how it felt for me in this episode. And also too, like re-looking at his scenes with him and Dr. Harrow, obviously Dr. Harrow is in his mind. He's created this figure in his mind based on obviously real life, but it's not Arthur. Mm-hmm. But do you think that's him almost playing like a referee with himself? Because I'm watching, like I'm listening to the or reading the dialogue now, and he's kind of like talking him through it. He's like, so you met up with a rhino, right? That talked. And he's like, it was a hippo. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, hippo. You met up with a hippo that talked and told you blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, is that sense or is that nonsense? It's like, nonsense. Like, that's him almost rationalizing things and trying to figure that out. Now that I see the episode, I understand that. But that's how I take it now. Is that how you kind of see it, or what do you think?
I mean, like, hearing that perspective, honestly, like, shifted just my whole, like, this thought process. I'm like, okay, this is... Because, like, I think watching it on the playback, you watching it the first time, you just, like, enjoying it, like, for what it is. You just trying to really, like, just...
Take everything
in. But, like, definitely watching it, like, on the playback now, and even just hearing, like, what you were saying, it definitely makes, like, a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Like I would say.
So much. John's talking about that scene, too, and he said, I died laughing when Mark was talking about killing the nice hippo lady. He's savage.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, Mark is just, like, he's got that straight, like, Merc, like, just... That's all he thinks about. It's just like, let's take him out.